Since the 90s, finishers have defined the careers of many superstars in the world of wrestling. Although not every finisher is pretty and some are just out of this world, it is as important to a wrestling superstar as great promo skills and an ability to wrestle is. Let's take a look at 7 of the most effective and protected finishers in the history of professional wrestling. The beauty of the RKO is that it can essentially be performed from anywhere at any moment. There have been very few wrestling finishers that have a kind of venomous strike ability to them like the RKO. It's a big reason why the move is so fitting on the Viper himself.
From the second row, top rope. See one flaw in Carlito's. Randy in position for another curb stop. Oh my God!
It has been called by many names over the years, such as the Ace Crusher and the Diamond Cutter. However, Orton's version of the cutter actually went viral to everyone outside of the wrestling bubble because of the hilarious RKO out of nowhere meme trend.
It was at this moment that Jackson knew Randy Orton was here.
The RKO that caught Evan Bourne as he was coming out of the sky to land a shooting star press will always appear in any wrestling highlight reel video you come across, such as this one right now you're watching. A little simple and uncreative? Maybe. It's true that a leaping tackle isn't all that hard to pull off compared to other moves on this list, but it's also undeniable that when the right person hits a spear, it's both cool looking and visceral. The spear also gets bonus points for who has used it to end matches. Edge is a WWE Hall of Famer, Roman Reigns is one of the longest reigning WWE champion, and Goldberg won majority of his 173 consecutive victories using this move. Overall, it's one of the best wrestling finishers due to its effectiveness and the awesome visual that comes from it being landed on an unsuspecting opponent. Although many wrestling moves have rarely been kicked out of, none of them have a hit list at the level of Razor's Edge. Classes of Hall of Fame wrestlers lost when Razor Ramon tossed them across the ring with his finisher. Razor was a massive man, and there was virtually nobody who couldn't be picked up and used for the move. It looked great when wrestlers of smaller size were getting tossed around, but even men twice the size fell at the hands of this effective finisher. Drake Younger is an American professional wrestler best known for his time in Combat Zone Wrestling. He competed for various independent promotions and made a name for himself competing in the deathmatch genre of wrestling before retiring and moving on to work for WWE as a referee. He named his finisher Drake's Landing, a wrestling technique considered to be extremely dangerous as the receiver's arms are restrained, head not placed between the wrestler's legs, and giving little to post against. The wrestler receiving the technique is almost entirely dependent on Drake Younger's strength and coordination to avoid serious neck injury, yet he has still performed this maneuver on tables, thumbtacks, and various different objects. A high side thrust kick that the gentleman Chris Adams and the great Kabuki were two of the first to use it in professional wrestling, but it was the Heartbreak Kid that popularized it in the 90s. He would call it the sweet chin music and usually tap his foot in the corner to build up anticipation for the kick. It was always awesome to see HBK land this move after that crowd-popping taunt. A treat to watch whenever he landed the sweet chin music out of nowhere, especially when it caught someone right on the chin as it captured the essence of Shawn Michaels' character. From 2001 to 2003, one of the most promising wrestler was Sick Nick Mondo. Best known for his appearances with CZW, he combined high-flying technical with deathmatch style of wrestling. Some of Nick Mondo's moves in his arsenal were of his own creative innovation. One such innovation was his finisher, the Assault Driver. This variation of a drive where he would lift his opponent on his shoulders and slam them down with a body flip, always looked great to watch. And once again, Sickmondo got way too creative than needed to be. Mondo became infamous for his willingness throughout his career to take extremely dangerous bumps. Sadly, this also resulted in him retiring in 2003, having wrestled for a mere only 5 years in total. Stone Cold had a great gimmick, a great glass-shattering entrance theme, and a finisher that is arguably the greatest of all time. The Rock, Shane McMahon, Triple H, Scott Hall, and Vince McMahon are all remembered for the wild ways they sold the stunner. Hardly anything needs to be said about the top finisher of all time. Pretty much everything about the Stone Cold Stunner has become etched in pro wrestling lore, from the kick to the gut used to set it up to the many, many different ways that its victims have sold the move. The Stunner always looked painful no matter what the size of wrestler took the move, and fans always knew that if they were seeing Stone Cold, then they would definitely see somebody getting the Stunner. Let me know in the comments section, what do you guys think is the most effective wrestling finisher? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and have a nice day.
High impact maneuvers have always been a very important part of pro wrestling. Theoretically speaking, the more impactful a maneuver, the higher the odds of it finishing an opponent and ending the match. Over the years, the powerbomb has been one of the most preferred high impact moves in all of sports entertainment. It's been used extensively by several WWE Hall of Famers and is still used frequently by many of the sport's top stars today. Some performers use it simply as a high impact transition move. However, other performers have mastered their own signature version of the maneuver and have used it with great success throughout their careers. At 6'9" and over 300 pounds, Sid Vicious is one of the most physically imposing competitors to ever set foot inside a wrestling ring. A very important part of Sid's imposing aura was his devastating powerbomb finisher. From a purely mechanical standpoint, there is nothing necessarily special about Sid's powerbomb. However, what makes his powerbomb so devastating and effective is Sid's size and power with which he delivered the move. Sid's height was an obvious advantage when delivering the move, providing additional height for his opponent to drop from, and it was this maneuver that helped him claim multiple world championships in both WWE and WCW. To anyone who saw him wrestle outside of WWE, it was obvious that Big Van Vader was one of the most unique big men ever. Vader fits the bill of the most intimidating monster heel to a T. He was ahead of his time in terms of athleticism and mobility. Vader's offensive arsenal was an impressive combination of power moves and jaw-dropping acrobatics, such as his moonsault, which was perhaps his most widely acclaimed move, but it was his powerbomb that was the real key to his success. For years, Vader put down some of WCW's top stars with his powerbomb, and this was also the move that gave Mick Foley a concussion during their time in WCW. He caused even more damage with the move during his iconic tours of Japan and would eventually help Vader claim World Championship gold in both WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. The Big Red Machine might not have a litany of tremendous matches that stick long in the memory, but for a period between 2001 and 2002, he was the most consistent performer on the show, bringing his working boots to the ring every single week. During this time, Kane tried his hand at a new finisher. Arguably one of the best powerbomb variations in the history of WWE, Kane's falling powerbomb was a vicious thing of beauty.
The Intercontinental Champion slams and a powerbomb.
The Big Red Machine would lift his opponents up before violently hurling them down to the ground, bringing himself to his knees along the way. It was simple, effective, and fantastic. The move didn't last too long as a finisher for some reason, eventually being phased out as the chokeslam returned. When The Undertaker re-emerged with his American Badass persona at Judgment Day pay-per-view in the year 2000, it symbolized a metamorphosis for the Phenom. Gone were the days of the undead creature of the night being led by the evil Mortician. With that in mind, many fans wondered how The Undertaker's offensive moveset would adapt. Along with adopting more of a brawling style, The Undertaker moved away from his highly popular Tombstone finisher, replacing it with The Last Ride. The height advantage comes into full play when the dead man lifts his foe up for a powerbomb, and then continues stretching his arms as far as they can go to add an extra foot or so of height to his victim's diabolical plunge. Jushin Thunder Liger is highly respected in any pro wrestling circle, but he has deservingly reached legendary status in his home country of Japan, arguably the greatest light heavyweight to ever wrestle in Japan or the United States. In fact, he has wrestled for nearly every promotion on the planet and has won every title there is to win in his weight class. One of the main reasons for Liger's success is his Liger bomb finisher, hooking his opponent's arms with his legs for a pinning combination. The move looks like any other ordinary powerbomb right up to the point where Liger drops down to the mat with his opponent.
Now we're gonna see the Liger bomb power. Picking him up right now. Big time power bomb.
The move and Liger have become iconic and is always a spectacle to watch. Finishers involving several wrestlers can often be risky simply because of all the moving parts involved. The risk is compounded when the move happens to be a high impact one. This is where the Shield mastered the art of the tandem finisher with their triple power bomb variation.
Triple power bomb time.
For more than 2 years, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins ran through the entire WWE roster. The Shield's weapon of choice to end matches was a devastating triple powerbomb, which saw Reigns as the anchor in the middle with Ambrose and Rollins adding additional support on the side.
Big shot is up.
At the height of their run, that move took out countless WWE stars, including the legendary Undertaker. To the fans who were lucky enough to see Mike Awesome wrestle, he absolutely lived up to his name. Gifted with the size of a legitimate heavyweight and the athleticism of a cruiserweight, Mike Awesome was a rising star in the late 90s wrestling landscape, and during his time in ECW, Mike was positioned as a top star, capturing the promotion's World Championship in September of 1999. At the center of Awesome's offensive moveset was a high-impact release powerbomb that loosely resembled a crucifix bomb dubbed the Awesome Bomb. Mike used the move with great success during the late 1999 and early 2000 in ECW, before leaving the promotion of the supposedly greener pastures of WCW in 2000. When Batista hit the main stage of WWE, fans were immediately impressed by his raw potential. At 6'6", 280 pounds, Batista was the true definition of a powerhouse. His offensive arsenal matched his animalistic persona with plenty of high-impact moves. But it was his finisher, which was an extremely forceful sit-down powerbomb he called the Batista Bomb.
Slam from Kane and now the Batista bomb. Batista going for the Batista bomb, and he got him. Batista lifted JBL. Oh my God.
Batista would use the Batista Bomb to win the WWE World Tag Team Championship, Intercontinental Championship, and multiple World Heavyweight Championships. The move resembles Jushin Liger's Liger Bomb, except for Batista not dropping directly into a pinning combination and the obvious difference in power between both deliveries. When Kevin Nash stepped into the role of a lifetime in 1994 as Diesel, he needed a finisher worthy of such a cool and intimidating character. At nearly 7 feet tall and over 300 pounds, a powerbomb variation seemed like the perfect match, and Nash would go on to adopt a release powerbomb that would be known as the Jackknife Powerbomb.
Possibly this. Jackknife.
Nash would use his jackknife to climb the ranks in the WWE and eventually go on a year-long run as the WWE champion. When Kevin Nash moved to WCW, he continued using the jackknife with great success.
Helpless. at the hands match. Oh. Watch this!
Namely using it to defeat Goldberg at Starrcade 1998, and also used this maneuver on the big man Big Show, successfully breaking his neck.
Wrestling moves continue to be more innovative and require more athletic ability as time goes by. But who doesn't like an old-fashioned, well-done chokeslam? The chokeslam has made for several iconic moments, and some of the most athletically astounding wrestlers in history have used the chokeslam or a variant of it as one of their signature move for years. While some have done it better than others, it does not mean they were a better wrestler than their other chokeslamming counterparts. Let's take a look at the top 10 best wrestlers to ever use the chokeslam. Various wrestlers have used the chokeslam over the years, and in that list of chokeslammers also includes Scott Hall, well known as Razor Ramon.
Hey yo, on a title match. Hey yo.
There you have it!
Although he used it occasionally as a transitional move, it was nevertheless still fun to watch whenever he performed the maneuver.
Razor Ramon with Van Dal. Oh, wow, look at
Maybe tonight with the NWO. When we'll ever hear from him prior to Starrcade.
one of the most powerful, look at that, a choke slam.
Razor used the chokeslam in a special way during his time in WCW, as he'd often raise his hand after to mock the Giant, making the move more fun to watch.
So we talked so much about the knife, and it led to obviously some people that you don't like. You just need to get over right his own version of a choke slam, and now mocking the Giant.
People who somehow weren't fans of Razor Ramon are well aware of the man and his incredible legacy within the wrestling industry. Even his detractors have to admit that the wrestling industry likely wouldn't be where it is today without the contributions of the bad guy. Awesome Kong at her peak was like the Vader of women's wrestling. She towered over her fellow women, being able to execute power moves like the choke slam and made them look convincing and devastating with incredible speed and agility.
Up, down, oh, here goes the choke slam! Bam!
Although she doesn't usually straighten out her arm to maximize height, it doesn't matter in her case. She's still slamming her opponents down with incredible force, which makes her look like a truly dominant force in wrestling. Stand back! There is a chokeslam coming through. A cruiserweight staple in both WCW and WWE, Hurricane Helms struck gold when he adopted the comedic superhero gimmick of the Hurricane.
Citizen Kane! You got a cool costume? What's up with that? You got a cool mask, you're 7 feet tall, and you don't fight crime? What's up with that?
Helms' relatively low stature made his attempts at the move a funny and also an impressive trial. The audacity of him to do a chokeslam and not be a nearly 7 foot tall behemoth of a man.
And old Hurricane now, looking for the choke slam. Yeah, the elevation. The Scorpion King double choke slam.
Hurricane was a WWE fan favorite during the early 2000s, creating silly and memorable moments like trying a double choke slam on Stone Cold and Triple H during the 2002 Royal Rumble, only to be thrown out the ring immediately after. While not every wrestler can be the top champion in a given promotion, that doesn't mean that they're bad or unmemorable, as Helms found his niche as a delusional superhero. Former boxer and pro football player, the Kansas City native has accomplished a lot in the world's biggest wrestling promotion. Corbin is a former United States champion, King of the Ring winner, and even retired Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 35.
Now all the losers on Twitter are going to have one less thing to complain about.
Baron Corbin slightly modified the choke slam, making the move more believable. He would lift his opponents by the throat and slam them on his right knee, setting the fans up for a wince-worthy reaction.
Corbin grabs Ali over and delivers a choke slam. Yeah, but now the choke slam is legal. Oh, choke slam.
That being said, Corbin has become a divisive figure on WWE programming over the last few years. While some fans have liked his constant gimmick changes and creative mind, others are more inclined to reach for the remote when the modern-day wrestling god comes on screen. Psycho Sid was a main event player for both WCW and WWE, and he is a 6-time world champion overall. Moreover, he was the main event at both WrestleMania and Starrcade. Kayfabe-wise, Sid is a legend, and this success came despite all the shortcomings attributed to the man.
That you only half the man that I am! Skeptics and all the people have a little bit of...
Oh, it's live, Hal.
And I have half the brain that you do!
An enormous monster back in his heyday. At near 7 foot and weighing over 300 pounds, he came across as an uncaged animal in the squared circle. He would deliver vicious chokeslams throughout his career, and a man of his height made the maneuver even more devastating.
Amazing! And he's going to end it right now.
That's it. Cruiser.
Just a preview of the Orange Bowl. No!
It is sad knowing that Sid's days as an in-ring competitor came to an end almost immediately when he landed awkwardly from the top rope, shattering his leg in one of the most sickening injuries of all time. Braun Strowman is a physically imposing athlete to use the chokeslam. Proven to be extremely versatile, Braun has been built as a silent, heavy, relentless heel or a kid-friendly babyface.
Big red machine. Oh! Kane taking it back.
Strowman spent some time using the reverse chokeslam as his first ever finisher before phasing it out from his list of moves. It involved him lifting his opponent by the back of the neck and then slamming them into the mat face first. Apparently, the reverse chokeslam is one of the most dangerous moves out there, so WWE made him change it after a few months.
Nothing we have seen in. Oh my gosh!
No, you gotta be kidding me!
I can assure you it's something. Oh my God!
Like many of his big men predecessors, Strowman hit the chokeslam usually through tables or other objects. This really helped him become popular with fans because everyone loves watching a smaller man get smashed through a table. The longest tenured wrestler in TNA's history is best known for his participation in some of the company's most barbaric matches. Abyss to TNA is what Kane was to WWE.
You guys know I've been looking for my brother Abyss!
Nor is this.
Though his chokeslam itself was nothing special compared to everyone else's take on the maneuver, many times it was salvaged by thumbtacks, tables, and barbed wire boards, serving as a cushion for Abyss's opponents.
Do it, Abyss! Don't do it!
TNA Hall of Famer worked under a mask and went through several eerie changes for most of his career, but also got the chance to experience a dramatic character shift as the unmasked Joseph Park. Big Show is a historically athletic marvel, possessing the ability to lift and maintain his opponents higher off the ground during a chokeslam than anyone else. The world's largest athlete has used this move countless times throughout his career, always with great effect.
I gotta know something, man. Hey, is Andre really your dad, man?
Sometimes he would hold his opponent up in the air for a few seconds before slamming them down hard.
Big Show! Oh no, he's done! He's the Big Show! Picks up big! Ron Powers is around 270. Look at this! Oh! You're way up there, Joseph Gallows!
In other cases, he'd hold on to them as he knelt down, which made the move look more impactful.
He's got him out!
Perfect example, one of his earliest chokeslams saw him slam The Undertaker down with so much force that it broke a hole in the ring. That is how much power Big Show put into his chokeslam, which should have been his finisher forever instead of the knockout punch.
Right hand. Oh! Big Show able to kill. And now the KO.
Because of his size and sheer power, the move always looks incredible when he hits it, as his opponent takes a ton of impact.
My God, no! Chokeslam!
Right through the table.
Oh! Both go in! Double chokeslam! Big Show's got it.
It should come as no surprise that the biggest man in wrestling for many years would hit one of the most devastating chokeslams. The Undertaker's character shifts have coincided with updated finishers, from Tombstone to The Last Ride to Tombstone again. But the chokeslam has remained a fixture in his repertoire despite that fact. The Dead Man is historically spectacular because of his mix of size, psychology, and agility, and for those reasons, he is among those considered one of the best big men in wrestling history.
Merry Christmas, Yokozuna. Rest in peace.
The Undertaker has been chokeslamming people for over 20 years. The move works perfectly well for his character as he's in full control and slams his opponent down from a great height without it looking like it took much effort. And because he's one of the tallest wrestlers in WWE, Undertaker has managed to hit some truly fantastic chokeslams, much to the delight of the WWE audience.
Crash landing for Taker. Chokeslam! Out on the floor! Chokeslam! Chokeslam! Triple H coming! Chokeslam! To take the ride!
The only reason Undertaker's chokeslam doesn't hold the #1 spot is because it has been a signature move for so many years and hasn't led to that many pinfalls. Kane was a prominent figure during the WWE's Attitude Era in the late 90s and remained relevant for decades after because of his athleticism and personality.
Look at him. He's a freak. It'll be your turn to bleed.
Oh, and I once electrocuted a man's testicles.
The Big Red Machine had one of the greatest chokeslams ever, as he always gets tremendous height on this move and makes it look as impactful as possible. He chokeslammed people using only one hand, which made sense given how ridiculously strong he was in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In one case, he even choke-slammed two people with one arm, lifting both Kurt Angle and referee Charles Robinson up at the same time without any effort. While many wrestlers have used the chokeslam as a secondary finisher, a transitional move, or no longer use it to end matches, Kane continues to be the only wrestler to use it as his primary finisher. If you like to see more weekly wrestling content like this, do like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below if I missed any other wrestler that may have used the chokeslam.